Hey guys, got a little update on situation with the Korean Peninsula, and as well a little bit more about the situation happening in Syria right now. First off, from already happened, we're seeing that more and more South Korean military convoys are being seen, rushing towards the North Korean border. This is nothing really new here. We just see more and more buildup. And with more and more buildup of military assets around the border, around the Korean Peninsula, from all sides, from the U.S., South Korea, North Korea, Japan, Russia, China, with all those assets, around, we're just waiting for some spark to fly. And we saw that earlier, a couple days ago, with the quote unquote unidentified flying object that was sent over the border from North Korea, and South Korea fired it with around 150 machine gun rounds. So like I said, guys, we're just waiting for something to happen. In other news, we got China's foreign minister is going to be meeting with Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, to discuss who knows what, most likely the North Korea situation. But like I've said before, I think that China and Russia are in cahoots. They want the U.S.'s influence, their sphere of power around the world, and they're going to try any way, to knock the U.S. off as the only superpower in the world. Now to talk about Syria, because as of, the last week or two, maybe 3 weeks, the mainstream media has stayed away from Syria. You just haven't heard any updates about it. After that strike by the Trump administration on the Syrian Air Force base, we really haven't seen or heard much from the mainstream media when it comes to Syria. Does that mean that shit's not happening? No, of course not. We've seen more troop deployments around Syria. Once again, on all sides, U.S. and British special forces have lined up on the Syrian-Jordan border. We've seen U.S. assets enter Beirut to the Lebanese-Syrian border. The Iranian Guard, they're working within Syria. So what's happening with this whole entire situation is the U.S. is backing certain rebel groups. Iran's backing Assad and their coalition. And it seems like they're to the point of, collision at this point. We're seeing whether or not we're asking the question, is the U.S. going to try to topple Assad? We've heard the U.S. state that they do not want regime change, but how many times have we heard the U.S. say that? They don't believe Assad should be in power. They think he's a dictator, and all their troop movements, their military movements, all the assets they have in the area, Trump's own comments when he was in Israel point to a different picture here. And I think it's relevant to bring up the fact, Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia and how Saudi Arabia and Iran have been butting heads for a long time. They have a proxy war going in Yemen right now. We just signed a $110 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia. This is just all pointing towards the West and Saudi Arabia, Israel, getting on a straight collision course with Iran, especially with the Syrian civil war that's going on. You're also talking about Russia being in there, because as the treaty with Assad and Putin stands, Russia doesn't necessarily have to defend Assad if Assad's attacked. But Russia and Iran have come out and stated that if another attack by U.S. forces was made on Assad's forces, on Assad, that they would have to retaliate in some manner. And we can't forget to bring up the pipeline that's supposed to go through Syria. You have the U.S.-backed one, and then you have the Russian-Iranian-backed one. So this might be just all about oil like it normally is. It's all about the petrodollar here as well. But we cannot ignore the situation that's currently at hand. You have U.S. forces and U.S. coalition forces, U.S.-backed rebels, seeming to be ready to meet with Iranian forces and Iranian-backed coalition members. And that is a very dangerous situation, especially with a wild card like Russia in the mix. This whole situation in Syria is a very, very big quagmire. And as we've always talked about, guys, things happen when the mainstream media is not talking about it. And the mainstream media hasn't been talking about Syria. Leading up to the strike on that Syrian Air Force base by the Trump administration, we weren't talking about Syria for a couple weeks. The only thing we brought up was this chemical attack, this false flag attack that was apparently carried out by Assad, according to mainstream media. They later came out and stated that there's a lot of questions whether or not Assad ordered the attack or not. Then they kind of just stopped talking about it because it didn't go along with their narrative. It didn't go along with their agenda. So we could definitely see something happen in Syria with U.S. and British forces in the area, which may coax Russia and Iran to respond in some manner. We should also talk about how there's reports of Iran opening up, a third underground nuclear facility. Their president just won re-election. He came out and stated that they're creating missiles, they're developing missiles to deter the United States of America. It's not so much a offensive weapon as it is a deterrence against the United States. It's kind of like the same thing with North Korea. But I digress. Basically, the Saudi Arabia and the United States, their weapons deal, big old slap in the face to Iran. There was a lot of trash talking going on between Saudi Arabia, Israel, the United States. When it came to Iran, they seemed like they're getting to the point of a collision course in Syria. The mainstream media is not talking about it, and when they don't talk about it, big things happen. That's my main points here. So, of course, as always, guys, as updates come out, as reports come out, we will cover them, we'll keep you in the loop, and we'll keep on praying.